Hey guys, welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. Today we are going to talk about greed, selfishness, kids and Christmas and crying, and all because of something kind of monumental that has happened here. My son Daniel, who's 7 and in 2nd grade, only days before Christmas here, for the first time ever in his life, has actually asked for something for Christmas. Yes, I have a kid that's almost 8 who, this is the first time in his life he actually asked for something for Christmas. Now, herein lies the problem, and herein lies the beauty. The problem is that not only did he ask for something for Christmas, he asked for 15 things for Christmas. Doesn't that just sound greedy? The beauty of it is that he can't name a single thing he wants. I'm going to get to it, and it'll all make sense by the time I finish. But first, I want to give a special Ornaments of Inspiration shout out and dedication to Leighton Longwalker. He's been with us here on the channel for a long time. I came up, I hung several crayons for folks who had requests in honor and memory of loved ones and tough times and trials they've been through in their lives. Went up this morning. Leighton asked me to hang either a purple or a silver crayon for his wife Jennifer. Leighton's wife Jennifer survived a brain tumor, and she struggles with MS. And Leighton is right there by her side. We gave him and Jennifer a dedication here some time ago, but we've misplaced the video that was in. We've been doing so many of these. So he's brought it back. He's brought that up a couple times. So I said, Leighton, you know what? I'm just going to do it again. So Jennifer, your husband Leighton loves you very much. And guys, I think Leighton shows us how, it's easy to love our loved ones when everything's good, when everybody's healthy, when the bills are paid, when there's extra money, when we don't have any problems. But for someone to love their loved ones like Leighton does through thick and thin, that's the vow we take, for better or worse. He stood by Jennifer, who suffered, again, the brain tumor, struggles with MS. He's still there. Leighton, I'm not going to give you a purple or a silver crayon. I'm giving you a purple and a silver crayon for Jennifer. So you two have a very Merry Christmas. And Leighton, I think you said you have a son. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. Merry Christmas to your entire family. Now, I'm going to hang these up here as I walk back down to the house here after this ramble. With this said, I'm going to talk about my son. And okay, so as you know, if you follow the channel, my son Daniel was born in the Philippines, where my wife is from, and has spent her entire life up until the last 2.5 years that we've been in the United States. So, I've wanted to talk about Daniel's $5 Christmas for some time, but I didn't really know how to do it. And Daniel's $5 Christmas was the Christmas that he turned just before he turned 2. And it was in the Philippines, and we were living out in the provinces. We had no money. We had nothing. The year before that, he had a $0 Christmas, but he was a baby, so it's not like he would remember. So he was turning 2. He was aware of what was going on. We had $5. That was like 200 pesos. After we made sure we had food and we could eat, we had 200 pesos for $5. We went to Chinatown. We bought him 4 or 5 of the cheapest things they had, and let me tell you, if you've never been to Chinatown in a third world country, you buy those things, you're lucky if they don't break before you even get them home, no matter what that thing is. Well, we got him 4 or 5 little gifts, and he loved them, and to our surprise, they actually lasted a little bit longer than we thought they would. So he spent his first 5 Christmases, I guess, in the Philippines. We made it to the U.S. 2 months before he started kindergarten. Now, here he is. He was never raised in any sort of materialistic way. Materialism does nothing for him. I'm setting it a little bit of a different angle today because I wanted to show you his favorite toy. He already has it. His favorite toy is right here. And yes, I'm pointing at a field because that's his favorite toy. I don't know if you can see it or not, but right here's a snowman we built yesterday. Me, him, and Dearly, his mother, my bride. We spend so much time in this field, be it with his football, his soccer ball, his baseballs, his model rockets we build that we only get to shoot off one time because they end up in the woods somewhere, kites, balsa wood planes, all this. Okay, very inexpensive articles of entertainment, really little $2 balsa planes in this field. What's important for him is what has always been important for him, and that is that we are together, we are healthy, we are happy. I am so happy to have that, okay, to have that outlook in my son. Now, here's the deal. Daniel likes to watch Christmas movies around Christmas time. We do it every December. It's like, every other night or so we'll watch a Christmas movie. The other night we watched a movie called Fred Claus, and there was a scene in it where this accountant comes in. He wants to cancel Christmas because the kids have gotten too greedy. He's saying greedy and he's saying selfish. And he says the average kid wants 15 presents anymore. Well, that's why when we asked Daniel, taking him to school this morning, what do you want for Christmas? He says, I want 15 things. Well, his mom about flipped because he's never asked for anything for Christmas. In the past, he'd always say, I don't care, something fun. I don't care, whatever Santa wants to bring me. And he's always been content and happy with, again, he knows $0 Christmases and $5 Christmases. The last few Christmases have been more pleasant than that. But regardless, the kid's happy, okay? So he says he wants 15 presents. His mom just loses it. She starts calling him selfish. She goes, oh, you're being so selfish. I said, honey, no. Because I knew where it was coming from. And I said, he's not. I said, if anything, he sounds greedy. And there is a difference between selfishness and greed. And I'm going to tell you that difference. Most adults, especially in the United States, don't know the difference. Okay? We're told they're both bad. You shouldn't be either. That's false. One's bad, and you probably shouldn't be that way. The other is very good, it's very healthy, and it's a very strong form of self-preservation. That if you ever leave the comfort of your cushy little bubble you're surrounded with, you'd better have it, or you're going to lose everything you have. Now, I said to my son, Daniel, you say you want 15 things. What do you want? Name one of these 15 things you want. He couldn't name it. He didn't know. He said, oh, I don't care, just whatever Santa wants me to have. So we're back to the original, his sweet, non-materialistic, non-commercialized self, okay? So we drop him off at school, and on the way home, I explained to Dearly what's going on. I said, honey, he saw that in that movie, remember? And she said, oh, yeah, well, it scared me because he's never been like that. I'm like, honey, because we're in a different place now, and we're surrounded by a different atmosphere. I said, we're in the land of commercialism. We're in the land of materialism. He's getting inundated with this stuff, we just need to keep doing what we're doing, living the way we live, and it's not going to become part of who he is, despite their best efforts. We don't have television. We don't have cable. We stream movies on Amazon Prime if they're appropriate for our son to see. So she says, well, I'm concerned about his selfishness. And I said, honey, come on. How many times do I have to tell you? We want our kid to be selfish. We just don't want him to be greedy. And she looked at me confused again. And again, English isn't her first language. It's her fourth language. She speaks 3 others before that. So I said, come on, hon, remember. And I thought, this would be a good time for me to talk to you folks about this, to remind you. I did a ramble about that, or about this past summer, but, we've probably forgotten. What's the difference between greed and selfish? And why is one bad and one really isn't, even though it's been demonized in Western, well, especially U.S. culture? Okay, think of it like this. When you think of greed, think of I want. When you think of selfish or selfishness, think of I have. Okay? Selfishness is about oneself. Greed is about materialistic things, other things, wanting what you don't have. Okay? And sometimes just for the simple purpose of having it. Certainly not because you need it. Now, what's the difference? Okay. As you can tell from that, the definition of both, greed's bad. There could be people that would disagree with me, and they probably have valid arguments, but for the sake of this discussion, let's say greed's bad. Selfishness is good. Why is selfishness good? Crazy Lake, you're telling us selfishness is good, but we're taught our whole lives, especially growing up in the public school systems of America, if we have something, we should share it with others. We should give to the those who have less than us, and blah, 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 blah. Guys, it's called the real world. And, to quote Rocky Balboa in Rocky 6, the real world can be a cold, dark place, and it'll beat you to your knees, and it'll keep you there if you let it. So what's the key? You don't let it. Listen. Selfishness, being selfish, means holding on tightly and protecting what you have, what you've earned, and what you probably need, and what you might not have the ability to comfortably share with others despite their current circumstances, which have nothing to do with you. Just as your current circumstances more than likely have nothing to do with them if they were not involved directly in the cause of your circumstances. What does all that mean? I'm going to use an example. And as I tell you this example, you're going to want to say, oh, that's judgmental. Oh, yeah. No, you do not have to be judgmental in being healthily selfish. Here's the example. You go to work. You work hard that day. You work for 8 hours. You're working for daily pay. At the end of your 8 hours, your boss comes to you and he says, okay, this is what you've earned. Or she says, this is what you've earned. Here's your daily wages. You start heading home. You're going home to your spouse and your children or your child. You're going home to your family. Your family's hungry. It's time for dinner. You don't have enough food at home for them to eat dinner. Fortunately, you've got your daily wages. You have enough money to stop off at the little eatery on the way home, and you buy enough food for your family to eat dinner. You continue on your way home. You're almost home. Someone approaches you on the street. It can be anybody. Fill in the blank. They see that you have food. They don't have food. They say, hey, I'm hungry. Give me your food. I'm very hungry. You say, I'm sorry, but so am I. You keep going. You go home. You feed your family. You and your family eat dinner that night. Was that greedy? Absolutely not. A lot of people are saying, that's greedy. You had it. You should have given it to them. There was nothing greedy about that because you already had that food. Were you selfish? Absolutely. That food was yours. That food was for your family, and you were putting your family ahead of other people's families because your family is your concern. Was it bad that you were selfish? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why would it be? Your kids are hungry. Your spouse is hungry. You worked 8 hours that day for that little bit of money you got that was just enough to buy your dinner. You should not feel bad about that whatsoever. Guys, it's called self-preservation. If you ever ride in an airplane, look up above your head where it talks about the oxygen masks. It says, in the event of an accident, make sure your mask is securely fastened before you help anyone else with theirs. Because if your needs aren't met, if you're not taken care of, you can't even begin to think about helping someone else. Let's say things go really well. You get promoted at work, and all of a sudden you have excess. Okay, and let's say 2 months later you're going home, you've got dinner, and you see that same person, and they say, I'm hungry, you have food, I don't, you should give me some. If you have excess and you don't have a problem parting with some of it, once your needs are met, feel free. Absolutely. God bless you and God bless the person you're helping. But don't ever for a minute think that because you're unwilling to part with what you need for you and yours, that that's a bad thing. Is it selfish? By definition, yes. Is it bad? No. Is it healthy? Absolutely. So guys, I hope you understand there is a difference between being greedy and being selfish. Being selfish ain't a bad thing. Okay, there are people in this world, there are takers, and many of you came to this channel by way of the video about the annoying neighbor with the crayon. So that's a perfect example. There are people in this world who make it a livelihood of going around to see what they can take for others so they don't have to do for themselves. They're out there. And if you're the guy, if you're the girl who's going around giving away what you can't really afford to give away, the takers are coming for you and they're going to take everything you have. So keep that in mind this Christmas season, huh? And all throughout the year. There is a difference between being greedy and being selfish. One's bad, one's not. One's quite healthy. And I was just reminded of this because my son, my wife thought he sounded selfish. He didn't. He sounded greedy. Fortunately, though, he wasn't being greedy. He was repeating a line from a movie. Fortunately, he is selfish. I mean, to the degree as he knows it's what is his. And he's being raised in such a way to where we're making sure he's looking out for himself, because I can tell you in this world, if you're not looking out for yourself, very few people, if anyone else, will. So I want to wish each and every single one of you a great day. I'm going to go hang up these crayons and spend some time with my beautiful bride, and when my son gets home, spend some more time with him and his favorite toy that he already has, which is this field. See you guys next time for more.